What's up, socialites? Welcome back to Survivor Social, the Survivor podcast where we talk about Survivor with a focus on the social aspect of the game. My name is Tegwyht, and as always, I'm joined by the incomparable, incredible Cara. How are you doing this Sunday evening?
I'm doing good. I'm excited to talk about Survivor. I hope you had a happy Thanksgiving and everyone watching. Happy Thanksgiving.
So real. Yeah. Did you have a good Thanksgiving?
I did. It was a nice day, and a nice long weekend. So what could be better than that?
No, I know, right? How did you feel about this episode in general? This wasn't I don't think this was the best episode of the season so far, but I would love to know how you felt about it.
I agree. Not my favorite. I feel like not too much happened. Maybe this was like a stepping stone episode for something to come, but it wasn't my favorite. But yeah, I feel like we've had so many good episodes. So like while this episode wasn't like bad, it just didn't match the level of some we've had this season so far.
Yeah, I agree. And I think that we'll get into it later, but getting out Kyle, I don't know that I necessarily agree with in the long run. I find it interesting to a point. So I think, when the outcome is something that I don't necessarily 100% agree with, I think the episode is not as good. But I still thought it, I think the season's really, really good overall. So I think that we're getting some good episodes just because it's a good season. But before we dig into the episode, make sure to subscribe to Survivor Now on YouTube and Spotify. And as a reminder, we are live, baby. So if you want to talk to us, make sure to go ahead and throw some comments in there. We will get to questions later on in the episode. So if you have any questions, make sure to throw those in there and you'll probably get to those later. We're live on YouTube. I believe we're also live on Twitter. I think we're live on TikTok. So we're making the rounds. But let's dig into the episode. So I want to start off with voting out Kyle. Obviously, that is what happened in the episode. And I want to know, Cara, how do you feel about that decision overall?
I guess I understand why they did it, but I don't think this was the best time to do it. I think getting Genevieve out here, or I don't know, I guess Genevieve probably would have been the best person to get out here. And I think that would have been a better move because, like was mentioned in the episode, I think Andy said it, like Kyle might not win like another immunity, or he might not win the next one, So like, and also like, what else does he have besides winning immunities? He doesn't really have anything. Like maybe voting out Gabe, but like, okay, one thing. And like, I don't know. I feel like you're not going to just give someone the money at the end just because they won a bunch of competitions. Like, so much more goes into winning than just that one thing. So I think getting Genevieve here would have been the better move than just getting Kyle out to get Kyle out. And now it kind of opens it up. It opens up.
I totally agree. 100%. We have some comments here. Skylar says, same. I want Genevieve to win so badly. Daryl said this was my least favorite episode of this season, and that Kyle left with Grace boring, which is very funny, but also kind of accurate that he took in the chin, he gave everyone a hug, including Sue. Sometimes that is not as interesting of an exit as, say, an Annika or, a Sierra or something. But I really think that this episode with Kyle going, I just don't really get the benefit to people other than the fact that now people have the ability to have a better chance of putting that necklace around their neck. What are the odds that Kyle's going to go and win 4 more challenges? And like I said, I was on another podcast last night. We were talking about, are challenge beasts really a threat to win it in the end? I think it's a big question mark. And also just the fact that think about Ozzy. I think Ozzy in one season won the most, maybe. And if we're including Redemption Island challenges, I think he won 7 or something crazy like that. At all but one, I think technically. And I just think that he didn't even win. There are people who did, such as Mike Holloway, you could say, or Tom Westman. There are people who are challenge beasts who win the game, but that is so long ago. Cara, if you were sitting on the jury, would you vote for Kyle just because he won himself there? got him there because he won? Got there because he won?
I don't think so, because I feel like I would be looking at, like, impressive that he won all of these, but, like, like, what else is there? Like, what social connections? What things was he doing to drive any votes? Was he, like, aligned with anyone? You know, like, things like that, and I feel like he doesn't have all of that to back up his wins and to make him, like, an equitable winner in the end.
I agree. And I think there's a world in which he gets 1 or 2 votes thrown his way, especially if it's a final 3. But I just can't see that a new era jury sitting there is going to be like, hey, really good job. You won all of the things. So we're going to give you the win. Now, this is another thing I would love to talk about. Do you think his story is something that worries people? Because he is a father, you know, he is somebody who is, he's always been a hard worker. He's a blue collar guy. He is from kind of middle America. Is that something that you think people are thinking about? Do you think the story is actually a threat nowadays?
I was thinking about that. And I think that does come into play, because I feel like we did kind of see it with Kenzie last season, how, like, her story and how, you know, she wants to start a family and how, like, she's doing this, you know, for her type of thing. And I feel like it's kind of like a similar situation where, like, that does get you votes, and I feel like that got Kenzie some votes in the end, and I feel like that could get Kyle votes. So yeah, I think that is kind of a scary thing to bring to the end with you, but I feel like this season, I don't think people are going to be voting for a winner based on, like, what they have going on at home. I feel like they're all very game oriented.
I agree. And I think that, like, also, I think you have to have a really, really good final tribal council in order for your story to pay off. And I think that Kenzie was really able to kind of push her story forward and tug on people's heartstrings and get those votes because of that story. I don't know that while Kyle is wonderful, will he be able to have that basically perfect final tribal council that you would need in order to get the votes? I just don't see it happening. Daryl also says Kyle ain't no Mike Holloway. You know, that's, I mean, you're not wrong. Like, he's not Mike, but he's, you know, a different kind.
And, like, so Kyle's wins, it's not like he needed to win all of these. Like, he just won the first one and then just kept winning them. It's not like he came in being, like, a target where he needed to win these at merge, or, like, started winning them, like, into the merge, a bunch of them. Like, it was just right into the merge. He's won the first one. He won the second one, you know? So it's not like anything really happened where he needed to win all of these. He just won them. So I feel like that also kind of makes it not, like, less impressive, but, like, less of something to talk about in the end. Because I feel like if he, like, needed those for safety, like, now he needed them for safety because he was winning so much, but, like, if he needed them going into the merge, the safety, then that would have been a different story in the end, to be like, I needed to protect myself, so I won immunity, and I'm sitting here because of that, you know?
I agree. And we have this comment from Skylar saying, I don't think I would vote for Kyle if he just won immunity challenges. There needs to be strategy in your game. And Kyle, unfortunately, didn't have much strategy to the game. Now, conversely, if we're talking about Genevieve is a very, very strategic person. She is somebody who got out somebody that she was actually working pretty closely with Keyshawn, and Teeny saw it happen, and Teeny was blindsided by it. She also got out Saul, who was also blindsided by that vote as well, because she didn't like that they voted for Rome. And again, somebody that she was working pretty closely with. And now she has been the target 2 episodes in a row, 2 votes in a row. And yet she's been able to dodge. My cat is causing chaos over here. So sorry. She's been able to kind of, like, dodge the vote. So that to me seems like a larger threat than somebody who just keeps winning immunities, because it's like, it's something you can't control. It's something you can't know if it's maybe she's going to swing your way. You don't know, you know?
Yeah. And, like, people see that Genevieve is a threat, but they're just not doing anything about it, which I think is weird. I feel like, you know, she's a threat. You know that, like, she's capable of making things happen. So why not, when you have the numbers, make it happen? Like easily those 5 could have just voted her out, you know? And
Very
like
easy.
who knows? She could win an immunity now.
Exactly. Now I kind of think with Kyle gone, it's actually not as good because I think the door
Mhm.
is now open for anybody to win immunity.
Yeah.
And it used to be you could kind of bank on Kyle winning and you could plan around that. I don't know that you can plan around that anymore. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, no, you really can't. It's unpredictable now. Like,
Yeah.
and yeah, like Kyle winning was like, okay, Kyle won, so like whatever, we do something else. And now that's out of the picture. So like what if Sam or Genevieve win? Then they have to figure out what they're gonna do with the rest of them. So yeah.
Yeah.
I
We
don't
have
think
this
it was the best.
We have this comment from Taylor saying they could have kept Kyle as a goat. He could have kept winning immunities and keep other more social players from safety and making it to that final triple council. I'd have kept him. Taylor, I agree.
Yeah.
And Jameson, love Jameson. Jameson says Kyle leaving opens up immunity for so many people. And so there could be a world in which people are trying to go after him because maybe they selfishly want to wear that necklace.
That's true. True. And I feel like if Sam gets an immunity, I feel like that's gonna make him be a little more vocal and try and like make something happen with the other people. And that's gonna, that could change the game potentially for people who see their end game set up now. So
And it's
yeah.
kind of very interesting that that Sam was actually willing to work with Kyle because it almost seems like Sam is the person who I expect to not want to work with Kyle. Because if you
Mhm.
recall, there was when he was like really close to winning immunity, he kind of got very emotional and was like, I really wanted that. Like, when you think of yourself as a competitive person and someone who can kind of like do these challenges, when you keep losing them to like the same person, it can be kind of disheartening. And it's very interesting that he was somebody who actually wanted to work with Kyle because if there's anybody who I think would want to get him out, it would be Sam because I think he just wants to wear that necklace,
True. Yeah. But I guess like Sam's options at that moment were kind of limited for who is willing to actually work with him. So I guess you'll take what you can get at
That is true.
that time.
That is true. Now, I do want to talk about this alliance, the underdog alliance or whatever they're calling it. Do you think this is a real alliance?
Hmm.
Like, do you think that they're going to be able to continue to work together after this episode?
I think it could work. I think some of them will work together, but I don't think I don't know. I can't see the 5 of them sticking together. I think maybe it'll be like 3 of them sticking and like or 2 of them. But I don't
Yeah.
think the whole group is gonna stay together. What do you think?
I just don't think that at this point in the game, you can make a new alliance. You
Yeah.
are so close to the end. What is this, day 20? You're 6
Mhm.
days to the end, day 19, something like that. So in the new era, you're a week before the end. You're in the final 7, final 8. I don't think you can make an alliance this close to the end, especially a big alliance like 5. Final 2,
Yeah.
sure. A final 3, maybe. But a final 5? I don't know.
Yeah, 5's a lot. I kind of feel like the alliances that start in the beginning of the game when you're, split off on your separate tribes and like starting to meet people, I feel like those tend to stick more and you tend to have more loyalty to people that you start the game with versus people like at this point where you're just like doing like just making alliances now. So like what loyalty do they really even have to each other to stick
Exactly.
together?
Exactly. It was just kind of like, okay, we're here.
We're here.
Let's do this,
Yeah.
I guess. I just think this was more of a voting block than anything else. And I think they just are calling it an alliance when it
Yeah.
very much feels like a voting block. And I just don't think if they do vote 5 the next episode, I'd be very impressed. It would also be a very boring episode.
Definitely.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it is still interesting. And I think this group is also a very interesting group because if you recall, Andy and Genevieve were working together at one point. Andy and Sam were working together at one point. They're not a part of this. But the group is Andy, Sue, Caroline, Teeny, and Rachel. Now, I know Teeny and Caroline have a relationship. I know Teeny and Andy have a relationship because of the amulet. Those 3 are connected because of the amulet.
Mm-hmm.
We know that Rachel and Andy are connected because of their tribe. That makes sense. I just don't really see the through line with this alliance, and I do think that we're going to see just it completely break up next episode. Personally.
Yeah, I agree. I don't think it's going to last or really be much of anything. And I can picture like one of them flipping to the other two and doing something with them and pulling someone else. I don't think it'll stick.
So we have this comment from Jameson. Jameson said, I think both sides of the 5 think they have Rachel, so they aren't going to turn, especially in a final 3 season with fire making. Even if Rachel flips, you just have to hope it isn't on you specifically and that you're good at fire, LOL. But I could also see it just being a voting block. I think that's a very good point.
Yeah.
The final 3, 5 out of 3 is pretty good.
Yeah. I mean, I do kind of think that 5, them going to the end together and like a combination of them probably is the best. Well, I guess, yeah, it's like probably the best chance of like one of them winning in each scenario. I feel like out of that, Rachel is probably the biggest like threat to win for all of them, which maybe only Caroline we're seeing that Caroline sees right now. I don't know if the rest of them noticed that, but and like, yeah, I think Genevieve, if she gets to the end, she could win. And Sam, I don't know if he would win, but I feel like he could probably speak well enough where he could convince people that like he should win, even though I don't know if he should right now. I don't know.
I think if Genevieve gets to the end against anybody, she wins. Personally, you've heard her sitting there at Final Tribal Council. I mean, a regular Tribal Council.
Yeah,
she's incredible. She's such a good speaker, and she has made some incredible moves. Yeah. And she's made some moves, also some very big moves in front of people who are still in the game. So she can even claim the pre-jury moves that she made. Because Teeny felt that Keyshawn vote. And Genevieve could sit there and be like, hey, I know this was pre-jury, but I did this, which also led me to do like, this, whatever else. And so I do think that like she sits next to anybody, she wins. Now, how do you feel about Caroline's win equity? Do you think that Caroline could win the
game? I don't know. I guess it would depend who she's sitting next, but like, I don't know. I can't really see it right now.
Yeah, I get that. I really didn't feel like Caroline was going to win. And then somebody said, why is she having a confessional in every single episode?
Oh.
And I went, that's a really good point. She has multiple confessionals in an episode.
We did see for this time.
Yeah. I just think that like if she's sitting next to the correct people, we could see a Caroline win and it could just sneak up on us. Like we could all be like, where did that come from? But she's not a bad player. She's really good. And we've talked about her in other episodes where, she's good at like making the connections, like her and Tiana, her just cheering other people on, all of that good stuff. And so I think if she sits next to a couple, like the right people, she could win the game.
I think so. I think she definitely, like if she's sitting next to Sue, who else would, maybe Andy.
Sue and Andy?
Yeah.
Maybe
even Teeny.
Yeah. So we have this comment from Wither from Twitter saying Caroline had a huge confessional this episode about her struggling with ADHD. Personal content screams winner edit. And now I know we're the Survivor Social, but we also talk about the edit a lot here. I will say the person we all think is going to win, maybe not we all, but I definitely think is going to win. The internet thinks it's going to win, aka Rachel, has not had a lot of personal information, has not had a lot of personal confessionals being like, hey, this, that, and the other. And do you think that means that that's bad for Rachel's win equity?
I don't know. I kind of just don't think Rachel's going to win.
You don't? Who do you think is going to win?
I don't. Like if she's there, I could see her winning. I just don't think she's going to get there.
Okay.
And I think, I don't know. I do think it's going to be someone that like we don't expect. Like I can see it being Andy winning in the end. Not just saying that because like I like Andy as like a character, whatever player, but like I could see that happening, or I could see like like a teeny win, you know? Like I could see someone like that winning and not like who we all think might win.
Yeah.
Like the obvious winner.
It's very interesting because I think that the winner, this is one of the seasons where I feel like it's way more ambiguous than many others. So we have some people on TikTok saying Teeny is going to win. And then they responded saying when you were figuring it out, they said she wants to say Teeny, which was kind of funny. We have someone over here saying Rachel is too strong now. Protoman 21 says Rachel is too strong now. We have somebody saying that Kenzie got the personal content towards the end. So that could also mean that Rachel wins. And I don't know if anybody follows Edgic. Edgic is saying that Andy's going to win. Which, like, they're like, Andy's winning. Edgic is like, Andy is winning. And I don't know if I agree with that per se. Like, I think his edit is so big that, like, it's too big. Like, my current conspiracy theory is that Andy has Malcolmed the game and has already been invited back to 50. Like, I believe that he is the Malcolm of the season, and on the island, he got invited back to 50.
Ooh, like, you know, actually, this was like the episode in a while where we got the least amount of Andy. Like, we didn't get any Andy montages this time. Like, this was the least amount of Andy we saw. And
that's why I hated it. Just kidding.
That's why it was boring. No, I'm just kidding. I think I was going to say, what was I going to say? Oh, about Caroline, I think we said in the beginning of this that, like, this was kind of like setting up something to happen. I feel like this could have been that for Caroline, where we saw Caroline mention like Rachel having like all these advantages and being a threat. And like, what if Caroline pulls off a blindside or something on Rachel? Like, that's win equity there. Like, that would be something huge to happen. Like, they send her home with an idol in pocket, you know? Block a vote in pocket.
I think the thing that like a lot of people forget about this point in the game of Survivor is there is quite a bit of game left to play. And it's like maybe the most important time because it is going to be the moves that are made the closest to Final Tribal Council are going to be the moves that people have on their brain more than the ones that happened before that. And so like if people make big moves starting now, like I could see a world in which Sue makes a bunch of big moves and then wins the game. Like, so, you know, there are multiple people still to vote out and there's a lot of stuff to do. Sue has an idol. Rachel has an idol. Rachel has a block of vote. There's a lot of game left to be played. And I think that there is a lot of game that we're going to still see out of this cast of people. Do you know what I mean? Like, I feel like it's not over. We're talking about who's going to win. And I still love doing that. But the game is far from over. There's still a lot to happen. You know?
There's so much that can happen. It's like almost the whole beginning of the game up until like maybe now or like this like portion these past few weeks, like, and now is like bonding with people and like how people perceive you when they go onto jury. And then from here on out is what moves you can make. And like, if you make people feel good, they'll want to vote for you in the end. And if you do something impressive, they'll want to vote for you. So it's like, but you don't want to like make anyone upset with it, you know, like there's like different stages that you have to like get through. For it.
Yeah, exactly. We have some comments. Jameson here said, literally, Final 7 to Final 4 is the hardest part of Survivor because no amount of trust can hide your win equity, which is exactly true. Daryl said Sue is not winning. It ain't winning. She had an episode where she didn't have a confessional, which is very real. That's very real. We have Skylar saying Caroline also said in the episode that Rachel now having the block of vote makes her more of a threat. So maybe that's hinting for a possible Rachel blindside.
That's what I think.
All true. All true. And I think that like now let's talk about the block of vote in general. So we got a boat coming to the beach. And instead of like a reward challenge, we didn't get any reward this episode. I don't know if you noticed that. I was kind of upset about that. Instead of reward, we had a rock draw because they could not decide on who was going to go on the journey. Rachel is brought to a barge in the middle of the ocean.
The barge is back.
The barge is back.
I think you said that in the last episode, or one of them that you wanted. Didn't you say like you wanted the barge back? And
yes.
Then bring back?
I did want the barge back, and they listened to me. They listened to me.
They listened.
and she plays a game that I play on my phone. She plays what I play on the subway when I am going home. The sorting of the liquids, or I guess it's balls in this sense, because Jeff Probst loves balls. And it was the timer was a bunch of weights on a rope going into the ocean, which I'm not gonna lie, loved that. I thought that was a really fun addition because it really was stressful. And if she didn't get it, there was no option to not play. She had to play. If she didn't get it, she would lose her vote. If she got it, she got an advantage, which ended up being a block vote. I think it's super dangerous to play with players' votes this late in the game. Obviously, it worked out this time. Wonderful. If it hadn't worked out, I think losing a vote at what is this, final 7, final 8 is not okay, Survivor. Not okay. Luckily, it worked out for us, so that's good. But she wins a block a vote. Not a steal a vote, just a full block a vote, meaning that she can block somebody's vote at Tribal Council, but she does not herself get an extra vote. Now, I made a TikTok about this. I don't think it's the best case scenario, but I think it's an interesting thought experiment. So, in a world where Rachel really wants Genevieve out, which is what we're seeing, I think there was a chance that she could have made that happen. Now, she had a block vote. Say she blocks Genevieve's vote. So Rachel blocks Genevieve's vote. Genevieve cannot vote.
Mm-hmm.
That means that you need 4 votes because I believe it's 8 people still left in the game. So with now only 7 votes in the game, you need 4 votes to win cat crossing. You need 4 votes to get somebody out. We know that Andy really wanted Genevieve out. We know that Andy really wanted Genevieve out because he literally voted for Genevieve. Still, icon, good. So that's 2 votes for Genevieve. That means they only need 2 more. I think if they could convince Kyle that we had a block of vote, that that Genevieve was going home, and if you don't vote this way, it will be a tie and it will be you. I think that they would, and then I think they could have gotten Teenie on board. I think if they said, "Hey, I am going to strong arm you. I have this block of votes. It's going to happen. Let's just do the thing." Maybe not Teenie. I think that they could have gotten somebody else. There are 3 people to work with. Sue, Caroline. Well, not Sue. You can't really.
Not Sam.
Maybe Sam. Maybe. I don't know. Maybe. But basically, you only need 4.
Yeah.
Do you think it would be good for Rachel at all to have done this, or do you think it's much smarter to keep it to herself?
I mean, if it worked, I think it would have put a bigger target on her back than maybe there already is. So maybe that wouldn't have been the best. But like besides that, like what downside really is there to doing it? Like,
yeah,
I feel like it would have been worth a shot.
I think that personally, I think that she is trusting this alliance a little bit too much. This alliance that is really not an alliance from my perspective. She told everybody she has this block vote. She told all 5, right? It was all 5 that she had this block vote. And I think that like keeping that information to yourself would have been a lot better than sharing it with literally everybody that you just got into an alliance with. You just got into an alliance with them.
Well, I guess the only thing is it did kind of seem like to work out what's telling Sue, because that gains Sue's trust in Rachel. But I feel like it like lessened Caroline's trust in Rachel a little bit, or not trust in her, but like,
yeah,
you know what I mean? Like she sees her as a threat, whatever. So I feel like it kind of did like 2 different things for them.
Yeah.
I feel like she should have kept it to herself too. And she could have used it on this one and stole someone's vote and voted them out without them even knowing that she even had it.
Yeah. So I think that it's an interesting experiment, an interesting idea. I don't know that it would have been the best thing for her game, but I definitely think it's something to talk about. I definitely think it's something to mention because it's not nothing. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And she still has an idol. So if she was in danger next round, she could have just, if she didn't win immunity, use her idol if she was about to be voted out in the next episode. And then like she has like some protection, So I feel like it could have been worth the shot to try and make something happen with it.
I agree. I think it would have been interesting.
Yeah.
Maybe we'll see this in the next episode. We have this comment from Skylar saying, "I have this feeling that Andy is going to expose that Rachel has the block of vote to Genevieve and Sam next episode, especially judging from next episode's preview." Ooh. Interesting. That would be interesting. I don't know.
Yeah, true.
I mean, I wouldn't be mad at it, but now I have a question about this challenge. Did you, because look how close this was between Kyle and Rachel. Did you think it was going to end up being Kyle? Because he was steps away.
Yeah, it was close. I don't know. I guess I didn't really think about I didn't really think of it. What did you think it was going to be, Kyle?
I really did.
Yeah.
I honestly kind of thought that Kyle was going to just win outright, like go all the way and then make it to final triple council and then maybe win, maybe lose. I don't know. But he just was pretty.
It would have been fun to see. Yeah.
Pretty incredible. I love to see a vegetarian doing so well. So beautiful. For everyone, I'm a vegetarian, which is why I feel like that. We have some comments over here as well. Jameson says, I think Rachel is closer with them than we see. There was a secret scene of her with Gabe and Kyle, as well as one-offs with Kyle that makes me think she's closer to the Tukus than we see. But IDK better closest with Teenie and Andy. Okay, that makes sense. I still feel like exposing this kind of a thing. I mean, I don't know what she would have done otherwise. Like maybe she just could have said like, hey, I went to the island. There was an option to play or not play. I decided to not play. My vote is too, important to me now. Yeah. So I have my vote, but I don't have anything. Would they have believed that? I don't know, but I think it's better than not telling them, or better than telling them what she has.
Yeah. I think people are going to be skeptical no matter what happens when you go on that and come back. So,
yeah.
But I do also wonder about how close are Rachel and Andy really? Like, I feel like the vibe I get is that they're not really that close. And I feel like they keep trying to make it like they are, but I don't think they are.
Yeah, I agree. And Zoe here kind of agrees, says, I think she said something in the episode like, quote, as long as this alliance is legit, we'll be okay, may indicate that the alliance will crumble and is in fact not legit. I added that last part in, but it's kind of what we were talking about. I think that, it's a little bit too late to start a 5-person alliance, in my humble opinion. But it's still interesting. And we have somebody Wither here saying I think that Andy's possible downfall will be him trying to play too hard. And some moves backfiring on him. And I think that goes with this alliance late in the game. I think when the voting blocks are very clearly voting blocks, that you're not going to 100% be able to trust these people. But with this kind of fake voting block kind of scenario, I think that people will overplay their hand. People will do too much, and will not, be good for them. And we have a comment over here on TikTok saying, Sierra being the first juror, I think will also hurt Andy in a final 3.
Yeah, I think so too.
Is there a world in which when do you think Andy wins? How do you think Andy wins? Who does he sit next to?
I think he'd have to sit next to Sue and Caroline. And Caroline would have to just continue on the same path as she's been on. But I think that would probably be the best scenario for him to win.
Okay. Interesting. I think that he could win next to Sam and Sue.
Oh.
Because I think that Sam is a vote against Andy. So I think that I think that in any world that if Sam is on the jury, like Sierra is, he's going to vote against Andy, not for him. So sitting next to him, I think would actually be better for Andy's game than having Sam over on the other side of the jury or on the jury.
Yeah.
And so I think there's a world in which he could convince other people, and having somebody that he burned sitting next to him could actually be better for his game.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And he can say Sam is here because I wanted him here. I took Sam here, not the other way around.
Yeah.
That's a good point. Yeah.
That's my thought. I think that's an interesting idea to think about if you're ever on Survivor. Just not only thinking about the votes that you do have, but thinking about the votes that you will not have. So I think a world where if Sue's trying to win the game, I think Sue No, sorry, reverse. I think if a world in which Kyle is trying to win the game, I think a great thing for Kyle is to not have Sue on the jury and for Sue to not be able to poison people on the jury against him and instead sit next to him. Because then he can fight against all of the, like, anything that she's saying in an argument.
Yeah.
And I think that's something that people should think about slightly more. It's not just who you want your vote, you want to vote for you, but also who will never vote for you.
Right. Yeah, that's a good point. And like, yeah, and like, why would Sam win at this point? You know, like, he did some stuff pre-merge, but like, right now he's kind of just surviving just because no one's targeting him. Like, he's not really doing much right now. So.
Yeah. And I think that, like, there's a world that Sam only gets Sierra's vote. Like, I could see Sam only getting Sierra's vote.
Yeah.
So it's just interesting. It's interesting. I will say, so we have somebody said Sierra as bitter can be, but also Zoe added, Sierra said on Twitter that she was making her stone face just to mess with everyone.
Mm-hmm.
Could be a lie, could be the truth.
You know what? One thing about Sierra, she's going to have people talking about her, which is making her relevant. That's good. So
one thing about Sierra, and that is why she's an icon. I think that there is a lot of game left to be played in this season of Survivor.
Yeah.
Obviously, we saw the next time on Survivor with maybe a like fake idol. Maybe, you know, what do you think that's going to happen? What do you think that's about?
I don't know. I feel like it is interesting, like a fake idol right now. I don't know. I do think it's going to be against either Rachel or I don't know. Was she talking to Andy about it in the preview? Because I feel like it would be
showing Andy it from my perspective. I don't know what that's about.
I don't know. Whatever it is, it's going to be a good episode next week. So
I agree. And another thing I also want to say, this is something I forgot to bring up, but I think is interesting. The votes.
Yeah.
Kyle voted for Teeny. Weird.
Very weird.
Weird. Andy voted for Genevieve. Weird.
Yeah.
What do you think that's about? Why do you think he did that?
I don't know. Maybe to show that it's easy to vote her. Or, I don't know. I don't know why he would. I don't know. I don't know why he did that. Maybe he did it to gain jury something with Kyle for him to be on the jury.
So Protoman over here, Protoman 21 said backup plan, which I think might be the case because Andy is one of the. So there are 2 idols in the game. There's only one person, to our knowledge, that knows, other than the idol holders, that knows where one of the idols is. So Caroline's the only person, to our knowledge, that knows where an idol is that's not her own. Sue knows where her idol is, obviously it's hers. And Rachel knows where her idol is, obviously it's hers, right? Nobody else knows where an idol is.
True.
So this there very well could have been hey, Kyle might have an idol. I'm going to throw a vote on Genevieve. And in a tie between whoever Kyle votes for and Genevieve, we'll go for Genevieve, right?
Yeah, makes sense.
I also think it could be that, but it could also be backed up with, hey, I wanted to vote for Genevieve and I'm gonna do it. And I'm gonna do it.
He was standing his ground.
He really was. He was like, you know what? I said we should do it. It was a 6.25% chance, blah, 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 blah. I'm gonna vote for Genevieve. Yeah. There's also a world in which this could be his jury management.
Yeah. Maybe it's a little bit of all 3 of those things.
You know what? It could be. You know what? He's that player. It could be. In my opinion. The internet would argue with me very much. Would be like, no, you're wrong. Jameson said, I love that the idol holders aren't saying anything. Real.
Me too.
And I think that the 5 was voting for Genevieve. Oh, I think he thought the 5 was voting for Genevieve. That's interesting. I don't think that's the case.
No, they wouldn't. Wait, okay.
Because then it leave him out. He would not have been an alliance.
Yeah, like why would they leave him out like that? And then, but if they left him out, maybe that's why he's then conspiring with Genevieve and Sam in the next episode.
Maybe. I don't, because
Or in
then
the preview.
I feel like we would have seen somebody say, I don't really trust Andy. We're going to tell him like something, or I don't know, maybe we'll see the next episode. But it just doesn't seem like, from our perspective, it looks like this alliance was, hey, everyone's an equal here. We all trust each other equally. We're going to get along equally. It's not like, hey, you're on probation right now.
Yeah.
You know, we're gonna
I don't
give this
think it was
plan.
Yeah, I don't think they like left him out. I think he just did that for
I think he knew the plan.
one of those 3 reasons.
Daryl agrees with us. Andy knew the plan.
Yeah.
Wither says, I think they just split the vote just in case there was an idol floating. I don't know. They knew Sam would vote with them.
Yeah.
Yeah, Zoe agrees. I don't think they left him out on purpose. I just think they didn't get to finish the conversation. Oh, interesting. Interesting. Skylar says Andy being the only one voting for Genevieve should be proof that he is the 5th in that 5-person alliance.
Maybe.
I don't know.
Yeah. I didn't see it like that.
I could see that he's the 5th. I could see that he's stubborn. I could see that, you know, he was the only one who was willing to hedge the bet. I could see all of it. I could see all of it very, very well.
I mean, and he can also well, no, I guess not. Because Teeny also got a random vote, which I'm sure they weren't expecting. But
Teeny definitely was not expecting that. And I feel like Andy and Teeny's relationship is a little bit better than we're seeing on the show. I don't think they left Andy out.
I don't think so either. I think it was more of a safety net type thing.
Yeah, I agree. I think this was a really good setup episode for an incredible, final, 3 episodes left in the season. Is there anything that you wanted to talk about that we didn't talk about during our initial breakdown? We've got a lot of questions that I got from TikTok and also that I saved from the comments so we've got a lot still to talk about. But was there anything that you wanted to cover that we didn't specifically talk about yet?
I feel like we covered a lot of it. I feel like the only thing that I was thinking during the episode was I wish it was someone other than Rachel who got the advantage. I think it would have been way more interesting if literally anyone else got it. But that's my only thing.
Have to see rigged allegations online.
Yeah.
This is so confusing because she just gets everything. Hey, you know that the first player of Survivor is luck? It's lucky. It's lucky what tribe you get on. It's lucky if it's like a monsoon season and you're good at withstanding rain. It's lucky if you're not allergic to everything. It's lucky if you are really good at puzzles in the heavy puzzle season. It's lucky if you're really good at balance in heavy balance season. Survivor is luck, babes.
Yeah. Rachel just has a lot of Survivor luck so far.
Rachel, Survivor gods are looking down on her.
They're on her side.
They're on her side, and good for her.
Yeah.
Good for her. Let's just say cheers to Rachel and all of her Survivor luck. And she's using it well. It's not like she just has luck. She also has the knowledge of how to use it,
Yeah. And she has good social connections. So she has a lot going for her.
Justin over here says Andy has no Survivor luck. I'm dead. Stop.
I don't know about that.
He's lucky because look at his hair.
Yeah. And things go his way. Things aren't going his way. So things
he was not voted out first episode. That was pretty dang lucky. I was very lucky for Andy. That was very lucky for Andy. Well,
John didn't have Survivor luck.
John had the opposite of Survivor luck. John. And then also Rachel has had Survivor. This is important to say. Rachel has also had Survivor unluckiness. Thank you, Jameson, for saying that, because the reason why everyone's like, wow, she's so lucky, because she was initially incredibly unlucky.
But all her unluckiness got evened out by something really lucky. Yeah. Annika getting voted out was best case scenario for her. Yes. Her being on the tribe with all of Tuku, best case scenario for her. So it all evens out for her. It all evens
out. So I think that means that she is neutral. She's regular. She's neither lucky nor unlucky, because if they balance out, unlucky, lucky, neutral. Unlucky, lucky, neutral. Exactly. She almost just lost her vote. She didn't, but did you see how close she was?
She was really close.
Lucky, neutral. Okay.
Yeah.
So I think that she's a neutral player.
I agree.
Jameson says she's net neutral on luck. LOL. She is. She is net neutral on luck.
Yeah.
And
there you go.
there you go. That's us on luck. But we have a lot of questions that we still have to get to. So right after this ad, we will be getting to all of your questions that you have been commenting and that you sent in. So stay tuned.
Think you're the most knowledgeable Survivor superfan? Well, you can put that to the test with our Fantasy Survivor game. Welcome to Bracketology, fantasy sports for reality TV. We provide fantasy football style games for your favorite shows like Survivor and many more. We also have bracket style elimination challenges. Set your picks once for the whole season to see how your prediction skills fared. And don't forget to check out the season extras like contestant info, where you can see all the bios of each contestant, and our scoring recaps that are published each episode. Download the Bracketology mobile app or play on your computer at fantasy.bracketology.tv. It's entirely free to play, and you can win some awesome prizes. Good luck.
All right. Sorry, I was jamming out to that song.
So catchy.
Yeah, correct me if I'm wrong. You're leading, right?
I don't think so anymore.
Who's winning?
I think it's Abraham. Let me check.
No way. No way. Abraham, who did he have? He had like Gabe and Saul, I think.
No, he has Genevieve, he has Rachel, and he has Soul. Yeah, he's leading right now. He has 451. You're in second.
I'm in second?
Yeah.
With the Sue and
to Sue and Teeny.
Oh, okay.
I'm right behind you in third.
What do you have? You have Andy left?
Yep, just Andy.
Wow.
Andy holding it up. You know what? I see Skylar left a comment saying that Andy's lucky that he named 4 episode titles in a row, and I think I should get extra points for that.
You should get points for that. You should.
But also, very interesting that he's had so many episode titles. So
he's had, I think, 5 in total, which I think is more than anybody ever.
That's crazy.
It's wild. 4 in a row is an unparalleled amount of episode titles. Like it's incredible. It's amazing. 10 out of 10.
Either someone else is saying anything good, or this means something.
This means something. I think it means that he was Malcolmed. I'm sorry. That's my new conspiracy theory. He was Malcolmed. I have no proof, but I just really feel like he was Malcolmed. And if you're listening right now for the first time, I mean, like you're just tuning in. By Malcolmed, I mean the producers loved him so much that on the island, they asked him to come back for 50. That's what I think happened.
Yeah. Andy's got to be on 50.
Yeah, he's gotta. And that's a try.
He's gotta.
One quick thing before we get into the questions. Justin over here on TikTok said, Rachel using the shot in the dark and not having to give it up for Rice, lucky.
There we go. Lucky.
I will also say, though, that was strategy using the shot in the dark. So partially strategy, partially lucky, both impressive.
And yeah, isn't she the only one who used it too? So
yes. Icon. Okay, let's get into these questions. So Candyman said, who do you think is going next week? I'm thinking Andy or Caroline. It feels like Genevieve survives. What do you think? I don't know.
I don't know. I feel like it's going to be like Andy or Rachel.
Rachel? I could see it being Teeny.
Oh,
I don't want it to be Teeny, but I could. I will. The reason why I'm thinking this is because they're having a pre-screening of Survivor at Rutgers.
Oh, that's right. Oh,
he went to Rutgers.
Oh no!
You don't normally do stuff like that, but I don't know.
It's kind of a coincidence.
That's a huge coincidence. That's kind of crazy. Daryl says Andy goes next episode.
No.
No,
I could see it, but no.
I think that Andy's going. I think Andy is going to be a final 3. Mariah over here on TikTok says Sam. I could see Sam going.
Oh. Yeah. Maybe. I don't know.
I really, here's the thing. I just don't know what this, like, next time on Survivor is really about. Is it really a fake idol? Is Andy in on the plan? Is Andy not on the plan? Like, it's hard to gauge that kind of stuff, just from, and I really don't think this alliance is sticking. So
didn't we
go ahead.
Didn't we see at some point, I forget when this might have happened, but didn't we see Sam speculating that Rachel might have an idol? Did that happen? Did I make that up?
Maybe. But I don't know. That'd be interesting. I didn't see that.
Okay, I don't know if I made that up or if that actually happened, but what if, so Genevieve makes a fake idol. What if Sam pulls out his fake idol now and like they try and get like any idols played at this next tribal?
Woo! I would love that.
I don't know.
That would be great. We have Wither saying, if somebody, I just don't want somebody predictable going. Jen going next episode would be the worst thing in my opinion. Zoe added, I think if Genevieve or Sam wins immunity, the other goes home. If neither wins, neither will go home. That's interesting.
Oh.
If Genevieve does survive next episode, she's one of the best new players ever. Best players, maybe. We have somebody over here on TikTok saying, I think Andy will leak the fake idol to his quote alliance and they'll get Genevieve this round.
Oh.
Maybe. I don't know.
And
I think Sue goes.
Oh.
Hot take.
You know what? That would actually, I wonder if idol in pocket?
Idol in pocket. Sue goes idol in pocket. Hot take.
See, I'm thinking, when I saw what the title of the next episode was, it's Operation Italy. That got me thinking of Rome, and that got me thinking it has to do with Genevieve somehow, and somehow relates back to Rome. So I don't know. I don't know if that means anything.
Sarah, how many times a day do you think about the Roman Empire?
Too many times to count.
Too many times to count. And by the Roman Empire, I mean Rome on Survivor 47.
Yeah.
Yeah, too many times to count. And that's Operation Italy.
Mm-hmm.
That has to be about somebody who is on the Lavo tribe, which now is only Teeny and Genevieve, right?
Oh, so it could be Teeny.
I don't want it to be Teeny. Teeny is my winner pick.
Is Teeny Italian? Maybe, possibly.
Tenielio. Her name is in the name. It makes sense. No, I don't think she's Italian. I don't think they're Italian. I love how we're all saying different names on who's going next week, Skylar says. Because Skylar just said Caroline. We're all literally just throwing things at
everyone.
I think Jeff comes home next episode. I think Nicole, Zoe says, I think Rachel could go home with both advantages.
I think so too.
Crazy. So, Candyman, we have no answer for you because the entire cast is going home. That's what I think we've decided. We've got another question here. Oh, sorry.
During
go ahead.
World War II, Italy switched sides. So I guess it's about a swap, maybe.
And Teeny's last name is Italian.
There we go.
Look at that.
No, if this is foreshadowing Teeny going home. No.
Not my winner pick. No. But also not Teeny. I love them so much. Oh, well. They're still very oh wait, LOL. Zoe, one of the things that I starred earlier, one of the questions we had was, what are your thoughts on the whole Sam, Jen, Andy fake idol in the preview? We've kind of just hit on all of that, but I don't know. I don't know. I just don't know. Wild West, the next episode is at her school, so it makes sense. Yeah.
That's no. Anyone but Teeny.
We are big Teeny stans here. We love Teeny.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my gosh. Okay. Skylar had this question earlier saying, can I just ask what happened to the duo of Andy and Genevieve? I thought for sure these two are going to stick together for the long run, but that didn't last. Cara, what are your thoughts on this duo?
I was wondering the same thing while watching the episode. I was like, weren't Andy and Genevieve like teamed up? Weren't they aligned? What happened to that? We never saw anything come from that. And then in this episode, he was like, I want her out. She said my name, I want her out. So like, I don't know. Here's the thing. I think that like a lot of these duos that we're seeing, I think this is kind of lends itself to the new era kind of game. They are
people who get along with each other. They like talking to each other. They vibe. But does that mean they vibe for the long run? Maybe not. And I think that gives the editors a lot of fodder. They're like, we've got all of this stuff. We're going to blindside everybody. And I think that that's kind of what we see. Everyone kind of talks to everybody. And so while I do think that those two actually had some kind of a connection or actually going to work together, did that kind of just get lost because everything else that was going on? Maybe. And I think that's a real thing in this new era of Survivor.
Yeah. And we did see in this episode, like Genevieve saying how she like doesn't want to have like emotional connections with people in the game and like have something go beyond like just, you know, working together, I guess. So maybe they were getting too close and Genevieve was like, we got to cut it off. Like, we can't do this anymore. Or she said that to herself. I'm sure she wouldn't say that out loud, but like, you know, maybe it was something like that.
Yeah, we have this comment here about this. Wither said, the edit is kind of weird this season with alliances. We had TK saying Sue was his number one, and the next episode, she was his target. Same thing with Saul and Jen, now Andy, etc. It seems random at times. And I think that that's a really good observation. And I just think that it's the editors trying to keep us engaged and like guessing what's going to happen next. And I really just feel like it maybe wasn't as real as we thought it was.
Yeah. Yeah. And maybe just Andy isn't loyal to anyone.
Maybe Andy's loyal to himself. And that's good for him. Good for him.
Yeah.
We had this question from Deck 33, whatever. Do you think we'll see Sue's idol play? Do we think that we will see Sue play her idol? No.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think that Sue is an interesting player some of the time, I don't think that she is a go. And I don't mean this in her own personal life. I just mean in the game. I don't think that she's like a go-getter in terms of making big moves unless it is personally like driven. So like she did not like Kyle, right? That is a thing that she really had to go, and she did not want Kyle to be there. She had to get Kyle out. I don't know that she is making really big moves, such as like using her idol, unless she feels like she has to for herself.
Yeah, I agree. I don't think she's going to play it. And I think maybe if she does, I think maybe Caroline will tell her, like, you have to use it. And then maybe she'll use it. I don't think otherwise. I don't know.
Yeah, I think the only, I think the only way that we see the idol being played is if Caroline says, hey, I'm going home if you don't play the idol on me, or you're going home if you don't play the idol on you. Whether that's a true or a lie, who knows? But I think that's the only way we're going to see it happen. And maybe I'm not giving her game the credit it deserves, but I just don't see that kind of gameplay coming from her. I think because she made such a tight alliance so early on, and I said this on the podcast the other day too, I think that kind of hurt both of their games. Sometimes I think there are some personalities that don't actually do very well with a very tight alliance. And I think that like it's actually putting them in a corner. They're, specifically Caroline, even more than Sue, because I'm tied to this person. And she knows that, hey, if I burn this person, she's going to be really, really upset with me and could poison other people against me, say, if she's on the jury. And so I kind of feel like Caroline might be tied to her. And I think that has kind of like clipped her wings a little bit in the greater game of in general in the game. And I think in a world in which there's a swap and Caroline and Sue are broken up, I actually think it benefits Caroline's game because I think that she's a really good social player. Being kind of tied to this one person has just not helped her throughout the game. What do you think about that thought?
I agree, because they don't really have the chance to make connections outside of it because everyone just links them together and knows that they're a duo. Like even if when they went on that social hour reward, they were both there together. And I think if it was just Caroline there, that would have even been more beneficial than having the two of them there. So
yeah, it's interesting. It's interesting to think that like maybe an alliance isn't benefiting you in the long run, which usually you think that like alliances are good, but I think that this one maybe could, on paper, looks really nice, but maybe in the long run isn't great.
Yeah, and like Yeah, I agree.
Go ahead.
I was gonna say, like, I feel like people won't try and like make alliances or try to align with you because you already know that this person is close to someone else. So like that also is just like a dead end there. So yeah.
Exactly. I think that's exactly right. I think if perception in the game of Survivor is reality,
Yeah.
and if people just don't think that you're open to other people or that you're not going to work well with them, I think that just works against you. And especially if if you think about like Kelly and Bruce, Kelly kept trying to distance herself from Bruce, but she couldn't. And that's one of those alliances that, like, as much as we love Bruce, we love him.
Yeah.
We'll listen to his podcast on Thursdays, the after show. Bada bing, bada boom, seamless plug right there, buddy. Take note. As much as we love Bruce, Kelly did not want to be tied with him. And as much as she tried to distance herself, it didn't work because she was already in this duo. And while it's not that kind of a partnership, Caroline and Stu seem to get along a little bit better. It's still that same idea.
Yeah.
Which is interesting. Skylar added to this, I don't think Stu's idol is going to be relevant to the season. If she doesn't win immunity at Final 5, she's just going to play it for herself, but nobody's going to vote for her, so it won't matter.
Yeah, I agree. And like we also have never heard of it again since like she found it. So like
I was talking to somebody and they forgot that Stu had an idol, and I was like, yeah, no, Stu has an idol. Like, it's important to know where the idols are, and yeah, no, Stu has one. But
yeah.
Skylar added, LOL, next episode is called Operation Italy, and given that Teeny's last name is Italian, it's probably going to be Operation Get Teeny Out, which I don't like, or Operation Teeny's Big Move.
I like that one.
Following to Dakota's question that they just posted, do you think this could be Teeny's breakout episode? I hope so.
I hope so too. I hope that is the case with it. And
I think Teeny's breakout episode was the episode after Saul got voted out, personally, because when Saul got voted out, we saw how that affected Teeny, and Teeny was like, I'm going to avenge you.
Yeah.
No, that's kind of how I felt Teeny was in that episode.
I kind of wonder, like, what would Teeny's big move be? Getting out Genevieve, maybe?
That doesn't really seem like a big move right now, honestly.
Yeah.
I think Genevieve's made it far enough to where getting out Genevieve is no longer a big move.
That's a good point.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, like this would have been the episode for it to have been a big move, and now it's just like she's one of the next people to just go.
It's like if Genevieve's name comes up, it's like, oh, okay, old news. Yeah, okay, we're gonna vote for Genevieve, and then Genevieve's gonna win the whole thing because no one got Genevieve. You know what I mean?
Yeah, true.
But what do you think? What do you think would be a big move for Teeny? Voting out Rachel? Voting out Sam? Maybe Genevieve? What do you think?
I feel like in Teeny's, okay, I don't know. What I'm thinking is going through Teeny's mind at this moment in the game is probably getting Genevieve out would be their big move, because I don't think Teeny is thinking getting Rachel out is a big move because they're like kind of aligned.
True.
And I don't think Sam is that much of a threat right now. So I think it would be getting Genevieve out.
It would be Genevieve. Okay.
Yeah. I mean, what do you think?
My perspective, that makes the most sense. But it's just almost like if Genevieve's name keeps coming up, then like, all right, we'll get her at some point. It almost sometimes doesn't even seem like a big move, but we know it is. But I don't know. It's going to be an interesting episode no matter what, in my opinion.
Yeah. I guess it would have to be like how it goes down, how it happens. Like, does Teeny do something to like gather all the votes and what? I don't know.
Yeah. Speaking of Teeny, we had this question that was sent to us from TikTok earlier in the pod. Mother May said, I'd love for Teeny to win this. In your opinion, what does Teeny need to do to win it all? I don't know.
You just make a move. I don't know.
Ask Jam, ask Kenzie, ask Gabriel, ask another winner. I don't know. I think it totally depends. I think it's make a bigger move, make a bigger name for themselves, and not get voted out. You're welcome. Yeah. I just hope Survivor. Yeah. You'll get voted out.
I do think getting Genevieve would be the big move for Teeny. I think that would be the best case scenario because Teeny can then say like they avenged Soul, and they avenged Keyshawn, and like that would like Teeny comes out on top. Teeny is the last Lavo.
Yeah.
And then I feel like that's kind of impressive.
Do you think Genevieve would vote for Teeny if Teeny voted Genevieve out? Because Saul would definitely vote for Teeny. Teeny sitting at the end. Saul is voting for Teeny.
I think Genevieve would.
Genevieve would.
Yeah, because we know that like Genevieve likes Teeny, and like they had that personal relationship where it was like hard for Genevieve to like do that, and like she got emotional about it, and they had that whole conversation. So I think she would vote for her in the end.
Okay. I think there's a lot that Teeny has to do, but not a ton. So I could see Teeny winning the game. Truly, I think after Genevieve and Rachel, it's Teeny and Sam are the two people that I think have the best chance of winning right now. But Teeny needs to. Daryl says Teeny needs to take out a big threat and be as likable as possible.
I think Teeny's already as likable as possible.
Teeny is. And shout out to Teeny also last episode for them being like, we need to get out Andy or Sue. And Teeny's like, yeah, we're not doing that. Just like point blank, straightforward. No, yeah, no, not doing that. Iconic. How many times does that happen in Survivor? Not often.
No.
Not often.
No.
Just outright no. In
and like
Final Eight, iconic.
And Genevieve like kind of said like Andy has no win equity in this episode. So like I'm sure if Genevieve's thinking that, I'm sure other people are thinking that. So
yeah. This is kind of a similar. Dakota just put this in the chat, but Dakota says, who would vote Teeny? So let's just like hypothetically say what could give Teeny a win. So I think Teeny needs to sit next to Sue.
Oh, yes.
And possibly Andy, possibly Caroline, maybe Sam. I could see Teeny winning against Sam. Sierra, if Sam is there, Sierra's voting for Sam. If Sam is not there, Sierra could vote Teeny. Sierra
I think Sierra could vote
burned though by Teeny. So is Sierra so bitter that they won't vote for Teeny?
No, I could see Sierra voting for Teeny. I think they would.
Okay.
Or I think she would, yeah.
Sierra is like a 50-50 on voting for Teeny. Saul is a vote for Teeny 1,000%. If Teeny is there, Saul is voting Teeny. Don't you feel like that?
Oh, for sure. Definitely.
For sure. Who's next? Gabe? Do they have a relationship?
I mean, would he vote for Sue though?
Would he vote for Sue? It's just like I don't know where his loyalties lie. Does it lie with somebody who he feels connected to, or does it lie to a game that he would rather prevent?
Yeah.
So if it's a connection kind of thing, then obviously he'll vote for Sue. But if it's like I think that this game is better, then I think it could be for Teeny, or even honestly, if Sam's sitting there, I think that Gabe would vote for Sam.
Yeah.
So there's that. Okay, next is Kyle. Kyle, I don't know. I don't know their connection. If Teeny plays really well and like wins, I think Kyle respects a physical threat because he is a physical threat. So I think if Teeny can win an immunity or two here in the end, I think Teeny could get Kyle's vote. But without that, I don't know that Teeny could get Kyle's vote.
Maybe Teeny wins immunity in the next episode, which gives them like that safety net to make a big move. And then that's what it is.
Maybe.
And I also like going through this, I kind of don't think we're going to have a 0 vote finalist in the end this season. I think everyone's going to get at least 1 vote.
Me neither. Me too. I mean, I agree with you because I just think it's a different kind of season. So I just think that like people would be able to vote for more people, or maybe we're just positive people. I'm just hoping it's not a finalist. All right. We don't know who is still, let's just say Andy. If Andy's on the jury, I think Andy's voting Teeny.
I think so too.
I think they are. I mean, I think Andy is. And I think the only way Andy doesn't vote Teeny is if Teeny bombs at Final Triple Council, which I don't know would happen, you know?
Yeah.
And then Sam might not be a vote for Teeny. I think Rachel would be, maybe.
Yeah, I think so.
I think Caroline would definitely be a vote for Teeny. Personally.
Even if Sue's there?
Even if Sue is there. I think that Caroline is voting for Teeny, even if Sue is there. If they have a connection because of the amulet. And I think and I think because they have the connection and she can say, hey, I felt like Teeny's game was slightly better. I think that Caroline would vote for Teeny over Sue, personally.
Yeah. I could see it.
I could see a Teeny win. Long story long, Dakota. I could see a Teeny win.
Yeah.
So
definitely.
I don't know. We'll see. We have this question from Samuel earlier on the TikTok feed, off topic, but do you think they should go back to different filming locations? Cara, what do you think about that?
Yes, I think so. Switch it up. Let us see some other places.
Yeah, it's never going to happen, but
No,
please.
but maybe a different side of Fiji. I don't know if that's possible.
You know what's interesting, Cara? We really haven't seen Fiji. We've seen 2 islands of Fiji.
That's a good point.
We have really not seen Fiji. It's not a huge country, but it's definitely bigger than these 2 islands or 3 islands or whatever it is. Take us to more parts of Fiji. Take them as to a reward in like the more popular part of Fiji. Do different things. We really don't know. Survivor fans really don't know what Fiji looks like. Give it to us, please.
They could be anywhere. We don't know.
Also, Fiji. Wait, actually, I'm not going to say that because I actually don't know where Fiji is in correlation to other places. And it actually might be kind of far. Because I'm like, it's not that far from other places. But it might be. I don't know. It actually might be far. I know it's far from me. It's like an 18-hour plane ride. I've looked it up. Because while the hotels don't seem that expensive, the flight is expensive.
Yeah.
Very expensive. But yeah, I just think that I think that Survivor really likes this idea of, hey, they're stranded and, they're not near any kind of civilization. But one of my favorite rewards in Survivor history was in season 1 when they took, who was it? It was Kelly, I think, to a bar. And she had a beer and she got to watch the first episode of Survivor. It's just the most
that's so fun.
Wither says they definitely need better rewards. They were really memorable. Yeah.
That too. It's fun seeing them interact with locals. Even in in Pearl Islands in the beginning when they had to run through and get things, bring that back. Something like that, interacting with people.
Yeah. Yeah. I think it's interesting. I think it's really interesting. And Jameson said the bar reward is iconic. But Zoe says it wasn't actually a real bar. That's okay. There were people there. It was a vibe. It was fun. But Skylar wants to see a Survivor season in Japan.
Ooh.
Very cool. That'd be really
cool. That would be cool.
That would be very, very cool. I just think that I would really like to see, and I think the best reward we've had so far in the new era is the helicopter reward with Austin D. And who else was on that?
Was it Katora?
I think it was Katora. I think you're right. I think it was Katora. And it was just it was something different. It had a different kind of breath of fresh air to the season. I just love that kind of stuff. Bring it back. And I honestly have no problem with them sticking in Fiji. I would like for them to leave, but they're not gonna because they just don't have the money. As much as we think Survivor makes a ton of money, they don't make as much money as they used to, which is not great for us as fans. So they're sticking with the tax benefits and they're sticking with the being able to reuse challenge props or whatever.
Yeah.
But man, would I like to see something different,
At least give us season names or something. If you're not going to change location, give us a name.
Please. Daryl said Katura was I'm a third wheel.
Yeah.
Very real. We have some comments over here on TikTok saying, Hayden says Survivor will die in Fiji. Completely depleting those islands because y'all remember the goats from season 33? Oh my God, wait. What do you mean? Were there goats? We're talking about goats as in people. Did I miss the joke? I'm gonna miss the joke. Megan says, I loved watching Ethan play soccer with those kids in season 3. Ethan. I loved that. Just beautiful. So yes, I think that would be amazing. I don't think it'll ever happen, but
yeah,
sad day. I know. All right, we've got another comment that we got earlier in the episode. Tay said, do we think some players purposely don't win immunity challenges to avoid targets on their back? What do you think about this, Cara?
Yeah, I think that happens for sure. But
do you think anyone's
maybe
doing
not
it this season?
No, I don't think that's happening this season, but I think it does happen.
Tommy, for example, Tommy famously didn't win a single challenge, didn't go to the Island of the Idols, didn't do anything except for be social, and he won the season.
Yeah.
As Daryl agreed with me.
Yeah.
Daryl literally says Tommy. But I would also say, Nick Wilson of season 37 said that he purposely threw challenges because he didn't want to be seen as a physical threat. And then he won the last, 2-3 challenges, something like that. So it's definitely something that happens. I don't know that we're seeing it this season.
No, I don't think so.
If we are, then they're doing a really good job at hiding it. A really good job. Nicole over here on the TikTok says Sam, maybe. But I think that Sam was too upset that one time for losing that he's throwing it. But, if he could claim that he was throwing them, then be a great strategic decision. But I don't know that he is.
Yeah. I mean, Kyle probably should have done that, but I don't think it would really be beneficial for anyone else to throw it.
No. Speaking of Kyle, another question that was thrown to us a little bit earlier. Do y'all think Kyle was a good social player? From Diakadog 33? Brutal. Do you think Kyle was a good social player?
Not really.
I don't know. He was, while social, he made friends, and that is a part of being social. But there's also a part of being social to that, people don't despise you. And is that Kyle's fault? Maybe, maybe not. We don't know. But most good social players don't have a player on the season that is talking that much trash about them.
Yeah.
And again, we don't know if that is it Kyle's fault. Is it not? Who knows? I just think that goes to show he's actually not the most social player and could have done better in his social game. I think that's a great example of maybe why he was lacking in his social game.
Yeah. I think he's a nice guy, likable guy, but he wasn't hitting all the social key points that you need in Survivor.
Yeah. Skylar said, I think Kyle was at least likable. I think being likable and being social are different.
Yeah.
Hot take.
I agree.
Hot take. I think, don't you think being likable is just being cool, I'm cool with a lot of things. Being social is people are willing to go to bat for you.
Yeah. Yeah.
So Wither agrees with that, says, in my opinion, the social game is more than just being nice. Social game is having the connections to pull some interesting moves. In my opinion, he's not a good social player.
Yeah.
I agree with you. I agree. I definitely agree. And I think he had interesting social moments. I just don't think he is a very great social player. Pineapples over here on TikTok says, Kyle's exit was the sweetest, and I didn't realize he was so likable until his exit. So likable is definitely important, but is it social?
No. Different.
And we are the people you should trust on the social matters of everything. Right. Okay, so some things that I starred earlier in the comments as well. Dakota asked, do you think someone will get idol out of the game? There are 2 idols and 1 immunity necklace. I think in general that, you win an immunity necklace. Do you think that somebody will actually get idol out of the game?
No, I don't think so.
Feels too late for that. Is that weird to say?
I mean, I guess it's possible that it could happen. No shot in the darks.
No shot in the darks.
I don't know.
And I know it's not technically too late for it to happen, but I don't know. I just feel like all of the other everyone still off in the game kind of gets the idea of what is what's going on. It's so far that you kind of feel I feel like you get what's going on, and I feel like it's just not going to happen. So I think that they're going to both have souvenirs, or Sue will play it, or maybe Rachel will play it, but I don't know.
Yeah, I don't think that's going to happen.
Skylar says, people have been speculating for weeks that Rachel would idol out Genevieve, but I'm not sure anymore. I don't think it'll happen.
No, I don't think so either. I agree. I think if it was going to happen, it probably would have happened already.
Yeah. Watch us eat our words next week. We'll be like, oh, well, they both played them and they both idoled out somebody or something. But it would be interesting. But I don't know.
Yeah.
We had this other. Okay, this is something we didn't actually talk about, which I think is important to talk about. Daryl said, "Will the women's alliance pan out? I don't think so. We did see a women's alliance in the, next time on Survivor. Thoughts on that, Cara?"
No, I don't think it's gonna pan out again. But then again, actually, maybe when they showed it the first time this season, it was teasing us for it to work out in the end. So maybe
it showed it 3 times.
Oh, 3 times.
They showed it twice so far this season. This is the 3rd time.
So maybe.
One time it was at Gata when they teased it.
Oh.
Monica went out. Second time it was in the Birds Tribe when they teased it. Tiana went out. So I feel like a woman's leaving.
Who did they show who was in the women's alliance? I don't remember.
It was Teeny, Caroline, Rachel, and I think either Sue or Genevieve. I can't remember which one. If somebody remembers, please let us know in the comments. Please let us know in the comments.
Okay, I agree. I think a girl's going home.
I just
I'm like, what's been happening.
Why do you keep doing this to me? I just don't trust you anymore. I don't trust Survivor editors anymore. It's never gonna happen. Sue was
I think it's gonna be Teeny. No, I'm scared now. I'm scared for the next episode. I think it might be Teeny now. No, I'm not putting it out there.
No, not Teeny. Not Teeny.
It's gonna be Genevieve. No, I'm just kidding. I think it's gonna be Rachel. That's my final answer.
So we got a bunch of comments over here. This is really stirring up the comments. Wither says, just put Parvati on Island of Idols. She will create the damn alliance. Real, I'm okay with that. Skylar says, Rachel, Sue, Caroline, and Teeny are the 4 women in the alliance. Genevieve is the odd woman out. Does that mean Genevieve goes out? Maybe. Daryl says, they might say Teeny is trying to get together a women's alliance, and then Teeny goes out. Daryl, like I said, no.
No negative energy.
Tyler says, Operation Get Teeny out. No. Jameson says, if it's Teeny, I'll freak out. Me.
Us too.
That's me. Zoe, with a different thing, says, I think it could be Caroline because we wouldn't see that coming. Interesting. I just think that it's not going to, I think the Women's Alliance is not going to happen. I think that the editors hate us and they are like, you can never have nice things. So you're definitely not going to get a Women's Alliance and a woman is going to go home. I hate you. That's what they're saying to us.
Yeah. It is interesting though, how there are only 2 men left in the game. Good. So maybe they'll be like, you know what? Let's just get the 2 of them out and then we'll rock it out to the end.
Exactly. Jameson said, this is foreshadowing of Teeny making a women's alliance and running the rest of the game and winning. Yes.
That would be nice.
I would love that. Somebody over here said, not a Teeny fan. What's the hype?
You just don't get it.
If you don't get it, you don't get it.
Yeah. If you know, you know.
if you know, you know. Teeny is Teeny. Teeny's a vibe. Teeny, have you seen Teeny's outfits? That is a vibe. Mm-hmm. And I think that's a good first step onto Survivor, and winning my love is getting on there with a really cool outfit.
Yeah.
You have geese on your sweatshirt? I'm in. I'm sorry. Say less. Say less and I'll be there.
So true.
You know?
It's a nice sweatshirt.
It's a great sweatshirt. And apparently Teeny thrifted it, which is even cooler.
Oh, that is cool.
I know where Teeny stands over here.
Teeny's just cool.
Teeny is just cool. Teeny is just cool. Follow Teeny on Instagram and you will see Teeny is just cool. Teeny has a vibe. Like Teeny will post the coolest, they'll have the coolest stories that just won't have words, and it'll just be things happening. And I'm like, you are the coolest person on the planet, I think.
Yeah. Just effortlessly cool.
Effortlessly cool. Or maybe it's a lot of effort. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. Okay, we have a question. This is a kind of a random question. Just Philippe said it's a random question. So, hey, I have a question. What are other reality TV shows that you watch? Do you watch any other reality TV shows?
I watch Big Brother. I watch House of Villains, Traitors. What other reality? The Challenge.
Ooh, okay.
Um.
I'm a Dawn D stan. I love Dawn D. Deal or No Deal Island.
Oh, yeah.
I'm a big Deal or No Deal Island fan. I also really enjoy all of the ones that you said, but also Claim to Fame. I'm a
Oh,
big
yes.
family. I love Claim to Fame.
So underrated.
So underrated. It's low key
Mhm.
so good.
So good.
And one thing that I was a little bit more into at the beginning of the season, but just got so focused on Survivor that I kind of fell out of it. But I did actually like the Summit. So
Oh, yeah.
that's good. I was also really into The Masked Singer for a while.
Mm.
And I didn't like the costumes anymore, so I fell out of it.
That's fair.
It's a big part of the show. It's the
It
costumes.
is.
So if I don't like the costumes, I don't want to cheer on an ice cream cone. I don't know. It's just not my vibe.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair.
I like to eat an ice cream cone. I don't like to cheer them on.
Oh, yeah, Dancing with the Stars. That's another good one.
Was only following Dancing with the Stars via TikTok.
Mm.
I was in love with all of them, though.
Yeah.
There was one couple that I didn't know who was the dancer and who was the star because I didn't recognize either of them, and they were both very good at dancing. I forget, they made it to the final 5. I don't remember who it was, but I was like, man, you're both really, really good, and I don't know who either of you are. So truly, who's the star here? You both are.
Yeah, that was a good season.
Yeah, it definitely was. Was it Chandler? Maybe. I don't know their names. I know Ilona's name because I knew who Ilona was before.
Yeah.
I know Steven's name because I knew who Steven was before. I know The Bachelor because I knew The Bachelor was The Bachelor.
Yeah. You know what? We need Jeff Probst on Dancing with the Stars.
Get Jeff Probst on Dancing with the Stars. Honestly, also Harvard on Dancing with the Stars. Like, apparently that was going to happen at some point, but
that would have been cool.
Yes. Boston. Oh my God, Daryl, I thought you were going to say they were on Dancing with the Stars. Boston, Rob, and Amber ran their season of The Amazing Race. I did also like The Amazing Race. I do watch The Amazing Race. So interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting. I like the good question. Good question. We don't usually get non-server questions, so that was kind of fun.
That was.
All right. Last question we've got. Sensory Nightmare says, do you want season 50 to have winners or no winners?
No winners.
No winners?
Yeah. Let's see a new winner.
I would be okay with like 2. One on each tribe.
Yeah. Ooh, okay. If they're split up, that would be interesting.
One on each tribe. Todd, Vesepia, or,
okay. Well,
like not.
I was thinking like new era, like winners. But yeah, if they're like older, yeah.
Old. I want old winners. I want people who weren't even on 40.
Okay, yeah. Then yes,
like
I'm with that.
Chris from season 10, or like I don't know, Natalie, like Mo and Natalie.
Yeah, if it's an older winner, I'm here for it.
Iconic. Earl Jameson is right. Earl, Marianne. Yeah, I would be. Oh my God, Fabio. Retro Ronnie says Fabio. Hey guys, can I take a poll here for a second? Can I take a poll? I have a TikTok that I am making that I've actually already made. It's been sitting in my drafts for a while, and I want to know if it's mean. And I won't post it if it's mean. But it is. I don't think it's mean. I think it's kind of funny. Okay, so Wicked, right? It's the song Popular, and it's did they have brains or not? Don't make me laugh. They were popular, right? It's that sound on TikTok, and on the comment it is. This is how Fabio won his season. Is that funny or is that mean? Because he was popular. And people kept joking that he wasn't the smartest person there, even though I love him.
I think you should post it.
Okay, James says post it.
Post it.
Mara says post it. Is that all I need?
I think it'll get a lot of interaction. So I think you should post it.
Oh God. No, that means it's mean. Cara,
No. I think it'll be funny.
Skylar says post it.
Oh
my God, Zoe says post it. Everyone's saying post it. Okay, I'm posting it. Say less. Okay, I'll do it. But I do think that Fabio would be good on a season. I think
What if they did like winners versus like just everyone else?
So like 8 winners, 8 non-winners?
That could be interesting.
I wouldn't be mad at that. I would be interested in like a season where it could be like winners versus runner-ups. Maybe not their runner-ups per se, but like runner-ups in general.
Yeah.
You know,
that would be interesting. Yeah.
I think there's some good stuff there, but I don't think it needs to be a lot of winners. Like I think if we do a lot more winners, it's got to be another season. I don't know if it's going to be this season, you know?
Yeah, and I feel like only having a few winners puts them at a disadvantage because people are like, why are they here? 31.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Daryl says 10 winners versus 10 non-winners. Skylar says still waiting for a first boot season.
Jameson bring back Jelinski.
True. Jameson says I want a season of every placement. Interesting.
Ooh, that would be cool.
That would be so cool. Different people from different seasons, but at all the same, like first boot, second boot. That would be
really cool.
That would be dope. I would love that. Well, thank you so much for everybody who sent in questions. That was a lot of fun. And most of those were sent in live. So it really was just like a blast to talk about. It always takes us on a very fun turn. So thank you so much. But it's everyone's favorite time of the podcast. It's Cara's Sweet Thing of the Pod. All right, Cara, tell the people what the Sweet Thing is.
Okay, so I host another podcast with my cousin Kateri called the Sweet Things Podcast. And at the end of each episode, we give our Sweet Thing of the Week, which is usually favorite like treat, drink, whatever. But for Survivor, it's just whatever we liked in the episode. And, you know, I kind of was struggling with this episode.
Not gonna lie, real. That's a real one.
Like, I don't know if I have one. Like, the one that comes to mind is the, like, reward, or not the reward, like the barge challenge thing that Rachel went on. I liked that challenge and just that whole little thing. So I think I'll go with that.
So mine, funnily enough, is specific to that. But what it was is the sound that the like timer was making. Because just imagine having to do a challenge when you keep every, 20 seconds you hear a plash next to you.
Yeah.
It's stressful as hell.
That is stressful.
And I think that's a really interesting thing they added in, and I think that's sweet.
Yeah. That's a good one. I liked it.
I mean, you basically have the same one.
We do. We're doing the same thing.
I mean, can we talk about how they put an app on Survivor? Like,
like I see people playing that on like TikTok, like on TikTok Live. Like there's people with like the brooms and like moving the things. That's what I was thinking of.
It's literally an app, and you know what? Good job. Add something new. I love it. But like, don't say it's not an app. Oh, Matt is here for the first time. Matt, what's up? Hi, watching for the first time ever seeing Tegwyht and the Specialists.
Aww.
Oh my God, I didn't scare you away. That makes me so excited. But that's a sweet thing. That one, it was a harder one, I think, than normal.
It was, yeah.
I also think it was a little bit harder to do the social butterfly, but it is time for the social butterfly award of the episode. Cara, who do you think the social, for those who are new, such as Matt, we do once a week, we do the social butterfly award, which is the award that we give to the person who we think had the best social game this episode specifically. I don't know. We saw a lot of social play this episode. What do you think?
No, this was really tough. I mean, I was trying to think about it. I think I'm giving it to Rachel because of her telling Sue about the advantage, and Sue really took note of that and was like, this is something like Gabe did, and I like really appreciate that. And like just Rachel being in that in like the 5-person alliance, and then the 3 with Teenie and Andy. But it's kind of a stretch because that's not.
I I think that's a good one. No, I think that's a good one. I also would agree with Daryl here saying social butterfly has to be Genevieve for dodging another bullet. Like the fact that she is able to continue to not be, but is that because she's social or is it because people thought that somebody else was a bigger threat? I would probably say it's the latter.
Yeah.
So I think that I'm not going to give it to Andy because definitely Andy is usually very social, but clearly he did not have the sway that he needed this episode. He wanted to get out. He could not get that make that happen. You could also argue that Rachel didn't have the sway of this episode because Rachel also wanted Genevieve out.
Also, yeah, that's true.
Part of
so maybe it was Caroline.
What?
Caroline?
Maybe it was Caroline. I'm also maybe even thinking Teeny because Teeny was in on all of the conversations. Kyle and Sam were, and was it Kyle, Sam, and Genevieve, or was it just Kyle and Sam? We're talking to Teeny specifically about going for either Andy or Sue, and either Teeny felt good enough with their position, or Teeny felt good enough with the relationship with those people for just saying like no, like Teeny said no. Which I think is not maybe the most social response, but feeling confident enough to do that means that you might be more social. So it's like a very big toss up for me because I could see it going to anybody. I think I'm going to land on it going to Teeny for me, literally just because of the fact that Teeny was fine with it being Kyle, was happy with it being pretty much anybody, and still felt like they had the ability to tell people just outright no. Is it the best reason? But definitely a reason.
Yeah. No, that's valid. I think that's fair.
It's a hard one. It's definitely a hard one this episode.
It was a hard one. Yeah.
I do also want to say we had some people who wanted to say their sweet thing of the episode. We had Daryl saying, my sweet thing is Kyle's goodbye.
Aww.
Very nice. First, over here on TikTok, Hayden said, my sweet thing was the fact that Sue cleaned up for tribal council.
Yeah, that she did look very clean at tribal council.
Really good sweet thing, Hayden. That's a really good sweet thing.
That's a good one.
Who knew she was getting those close-up shots? She said to give it a nice clean. Really, I had to mention those.
Funny.
Cara, I'm excited for next week. Are you excited for next week?
I am very excited. It's going to be a good one.
It's going to be a good one. We only have 3 more episodes of the season, which is kind of sad, but we also have to know win the season sooner rather than later, which is like so exciting. Thank you everyone for tuning in. We do have a lot of really fun things coming your way this week. As always, the pre-show is going to be before the episode at 7 o'clock with your regular cast of characters, which is going to be so much fun. So make sure to check that out. After that, after the actual episode, we have the after show. It's after the show Eastern time. I believe it's at like 9:45 with Bruce, Abraham, and all of everyone else, which is going to be so much fun. We are on Thursday. We don't have a pop-up. Okay, the pop-up, I accidentally deleted the pop-up. Sorry. Survivor Social is back at the regular time on Thursday, 9 p.m. Make sure to check us out. We're going to have a lot of fun just delving in. Just the 2 of us right now. We might have a guest, but I mean, you know, we hold down the fort. And then the regular, stock watch after that. Got something for you. We've just got it all coming up. Cara, you got anything big for the rest of the week? Anything that we can check out for the next episode?
No, I don't know. I guess just tune in.
Amazing.
Find out on Thursday.
Amazing. I do want to say, I think it's the last couple of days for this. But if you are into like Black Friday shopping or anything like that, Idle Place is having a sale. There's a link in my bio for that. But also, I think if you use the code like Black Friday 30 or go to the Idle Place, they can, the link will be there. But it's a really good, gift for anybody who loves a puzzle, especially a survivor puzzle. Also, if you want to, prove to your family that you're smarter than them, really good way to do that. That's kind of what I do. I also have a link on my TikTok shop for Black Friday until Monday. I think it's just literally Black Friday 20. So not TikTok shop, regular shop. So If you want to get 20% off your order from me, go to shoptag.com and you can do that. But other than that, we will see you next week. Thank you all so much for tuning in with us. Remember to stay social, and we will see you next Thursday. Have a good night, everybody. Bye.